All right, so today we're going to be building an implementation of a set. We talked a little bit about those earlier in class, and you also saw them in a prior programming class like CS61A or 88. So for example, in Python over here, we create a set. We got Tokyo, Beijing, Lagos, Tokyo, and this line has no effect because the set already has Tokyo. And then finally, Sao Paulo, and then we can print out whether or not Tokyo is in S, and this will return true. In Java, our goal is to build our own set. There exists, of course, a built-in set, but we're going to build our own. It's called array set, and we're going to add Tokyo, Beijing, Lagos, Tokyo, Sao Paulo, and same deal. Okay, that's going to be the basic idea. Now, we're not going to be implementing any interface like set. Instead, what we're going to do is just build a class, no implements anything, and then starting from that basic implementation, I'm going to add some additional features to that set implementation, like the ability to iterate, make comparisons between sets, to string, maybe a couple other things. But that's going to be our goal. We're going to be exercising some basic Java features. And once we're done with that, we'll be done with Java. Well, we'll still be using it, but we won't be learning any totally new syntax for a while. Okay, so the starting point is I'm going to give you this class array set. And there's three methods. There's add, which adds the value if it's not already present. Contains, which checks to see if the array set has the value, also known as the key. And it also has a size method. Okay. Now, it's an array-based set, and I'm going to totally ignore resizing because it keeps the lecture simple, but we know how to deal with that based on our array list lecture. So because the basic functionality is quite straightforward, as I note here, I'm just going to show you what the code looks like, and we'll do live coding once we add the new features. So what does an array set have? It has an array of items, and they're of type T. You'll notice that Java is giving me this warning. The warning is, well, actually this one's just saying you can make this final. Okay, I haven't taught you what final is, so I'm going to ignore that one. This one right here, this says unchecked cast. Object T, that's just something we're stuck with anytime we want to build an array-based object. Okay. An array-based object. Let me try that again. Anytime we want to create a generic array. Okay. Anyway. So here, if we look at our methods, we have Boolean contains, which iterates over the entire array and checks to see are any of the items equal to X, and if so, it returns true. Now you might notice I'm calling dot equals as opposed to using something like this, and we'll come back to that a little later in this lecture. But that's the right thing to do. Okay. And then lastly, we have add. What does add do? Well, if X is null, it throws a new illegal argument exception saying you can't add null. You don't have to do this. Just something I decided to do. Up to the designer of the class whether or not to include the ability to add nulls. Then we check to see if the array contains X, and if it doesn't, then it adds the item. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. Not a lot to it. Okay, so this is the code that we just saw on the slides, and at that point, we're good to go. So if you understand that, then you're ready to jump in. We'll start adding some new features. That's our basic array set. Awkward. Push the button. Stop.